And this is the dark side of Dubai that nobody talks about.
Dubai is losing residents at a rate few predicted, and even fewer want to talk about. The emirate that once redefined modern ambition is now watching expat families quietly slip away. Behind every departure is a simple, urgent question. What went wrong? Let's break it down and uncover why Dubai's dream city is being left behind. Mirage to meltdown. For more than 2 decades, Dubai was the poster child for what the future could look like. Gleaming towers rising from desert sands, an endless skyline of ambition powered by global talent and oil-free optimism. It wasn't just a city, it was a brand, where professionals from every continent came to chase lifestyle, income, and a tax-free dream. The city promised more than jobs or sun-soaked beaches. It promised movement, upward, forward, always expanding. But the sheen has started to fade, not all at once, but in patterns that are now impossible to ignore. Look closer at those same towers, and many of them are no longer homes. At least not in the way cities define them. Streets that once bustled with expat families now feel quieter, less grounded. Behind the shimmering facades, departure lounges are crowded with families giving up on a dream they once believed was permanent. The contradiction deepens when you compare headlines with reality. On one hand, real estate is surging, towers are selling out, and the skyline continues to rise. But at the same time, more residents are leaving than arriving. A historic reversal in a place long defined by growth. The economy appears strong, but the human stories beneath it tell another tale of pressure, disillusionment, and quiet exits. This isn't a temporary setback or a ripple effect from a global recession. It's something deeper, more structural. And to understand it, we need to trace the numbers, listen to the ground truth, and confront the realities behind Dubai's glittering mirage. The exodus by numbers. What once seemed unthinkable has now become undeniable. Dubai's population growth has not only stalled, it's reversed. Between January and August of 2025 alone, an estimated 180,000 to 220,000 residents left the city permanently. These aren't tourists or seasonal workers. These are professionals, families, and long-term residents who once considered Dubai their future, now packing up and flying out. The government doesn't publish real-time immigration statistics, but the clues are everywhere. Visa cancellations have spiked, enrollment numbers in international schools have dropped significantly, especially in mid-tier institutions catering to professionals with families. Outbound shipping requests, the quiet indicator of migration, have surged. Combined, these signals form a sobering pattern. More people are leaving Dubai than arriving, for the first time outside of global crises like 2008 or the pandemic lockdowns. The biggest culprit? Affordability. Rental prices in Dubai's popular neighborhoods have exploded by 60 to 70% in just 5 years. A one-bedroom apartment that rented for 65,000 United Arab Emirates dirham in 2019 now demands well over 100,000 United Arab Emirates dirham. For 2-bedroom flats or family villas, the prices are even steeper. Yet in that same window, average salaries have barely budged, increasing by a modest 10 to 12% at best. The result is a new financial equation where even mid-level professionals earning 15,000 United Arab Emirates dirham per month are spending more than half their income just to keep a roof overhead. Add school fees, groceries, transportation, and healthcare, and there's little left for savings, let alone leisure. These are not luxuries anymore. They're thresholds for survival. Dubai was once where people came to build futures, but now, even those with steady jobs are barely holding on. And behind each departure is the same quiet conclusion. The numbers no longer add up. The middle class collapse. For years, Dubai marketed itself as a place where middle-class professionals could thrive. Teachers, engineers, hotel managers, nurses, civil servants, and young tech workers. Today, many of those same people are either out of work, underpaid, or planning their exit. Beneath the glossy exterior of development and innovation lies a job market that, for much of the middle tier, has ground to a halt. The cracks began to show in late 2023 when hiring freezes spread across multiple industries. Real estate, once the lifeblood of Dubai's economy, saw deal volumes plummet. Agencies laid off up to half their staff, and even high-performing brokers faced commission cuts so steep that many left the field altogether. Marketing teams, content creators, and support roles that had once flourished during the post-COVID boom vanished almost overnight. Hospitality, another pillar, fared no better. Hotel occupancy, which averaged over 80% from 2021 to 2023, fell below 65% by mid-2025. With fewer guests came fewer jobs. Housekeeping, front desk, and kitchen staff were let go or asked to take on impossible workloads. Burnout followed. So did resignations. Tech, once hailed as Dubai's next frontier, offered hope briefly. But expectations outpaced reality. Software engineers from South Asia and Eastern Europe arrived hoping for competitive salaries and long-term roles. Instead, many found themselves overqualified, underpaid, and trapped in a shrinking sector that no longer paid enough to survive, let alone flourish. The middle class, once Dubai's economic engine, is being priced out of the very system it helped build. And as salaries flatline while costs rise, the logic for staying evaporates. These are not people chasing dreams. They are people protecting their futures. For many, the safest move isn't up, it's out. The empty towers and the new ghost city. In a city defined by construction cranes and luxury real estate ads, you might assume that housing demand is booming, and on paper, it is. Property sales have surged, with record transactions and rising prices. But beneath that surface lies a more troubling reality. The majority of new buyers aren't residents. As of late 2024, over 75% of new residential property sales in Dubai were made by foreign investors who do not live in the city. These aren't homes. They're financial assets. Units purchased in bulk, often off-plan, to sit empty or enter short-term rental platforms that prioritize tourism over long-term stability. Entire towers in Business Bay, downtown Dubai, and Dubai Marina stand with rows of darkened balconies, lit up only by street lamps below and the occasional Airbnb guest above. Residents call them ghost towers, brand new buildings with minimal permanent occupancy. Meanwhile, families who've lived in Dubai for years are being priced out of the neighborhoods they helped shape. This is not a housing shortage, it's a housing distortion. The city is building more than ever, yet everyday residents have fewer viable options. The result is a surreal contradiction, an oversupply of luxury homes that no one lives in, paired with an undersupply of affordable housing for the people who make the city function. It's not just inefficient, it's extractive. When housing becomes currency instead of shelter, a city begins to lose its soul, and for many, that's when the decision to leave becomes irreversible. When daily life starts to fail. Even for those who still manage to afford Dubai, the daily rhythm of life has changed, and not for the better. The city that once sold itself on ease, speed, and luxury now feels increasingly congested and brittle. Commutes that once took 25 minutes now stretch to over an hour as traffic on Sheikh Zayed Road turns into a crawling line of brake lights from dawn to dusk. The metro, once a sleek alternative, is overcrowded and underserves the sprawling residential zones on the city's edge. Public spaces that once felt expansive now buckle under the strain of rising density. Beaches are packed shoulder to shoulder on weekends. Parks fill by mid-morning. Finding parking at malls, once effortless, now means circling for half an hour or more. Dubai's famed sense of openness and ease is steadily dissolving into friction and fatigue. Meanwhile, essential services are stretched thin. Hospitals operate at capacity. School class sizes grow while teacher turnover rises. Customer service across banks, telecoms, and even restaurants has become slower and less reliable, a product of overworked staff and trimmed budgets. There's also a growing unease around safety. Petty crime remains low by global standards, but longtime residents note a rise in break-ins, scams, and neighborhood-level anxiety. The fabric of daily life, once Dubai's soft power, is fraying. It's no longer just about what things cost. It's about what life feels like. And for many, the exhaustion of constant compromise begins to outweigh the city's promise. The policy that chose capital over people. In response to growing pressure, one might expect a sweeping correction. policies that ease rent burdens, protect tenants, or support the middle class that keeps Dubai's machinery running. But the reality has unfolded differently. Rather than address affordability head-on, Dubai's leadership has doubled down on a strategy designed to attract wealth, not retain workers. At the center of that strategy is the Golden Visa program, a long-term residency incentive for high-net-worth individuals, investors, and entrepreneurs. It's an elegant offer for the top 5%, but irrelevant to the majority who are struggling to stay. Teachers, nurses, small business owners, and mid-level professionals are left out of this equation entirely. For them, the message is indirect but unmistakable. If you can't afford to stay, someone richer will take your place. Rent controls were discussed but never enforced meaningfully. Current laws allow landlords to increase rents by as much as 20% annually, depending on the RERA index. In practice, many tenants have seen even steeper hikes, 30% to 40% in some cases, with little recourse. Labor reforms exist on paper, but enforcement remains patchy. Wages are still withheld illegally, contracts still broken, and termination means facing the ticking clock of visa expiry. Affordable housing projects, where they exist, are mostly reserved for Emirati citizens. That prioritization is logical from a national policy perspective, but it leaves expats, who make up nearly 90% of the population, with no safety net. The result is an ecosystem where loyalty doesn't buy stability and service is repaid with volatility. The policies are working exactly as designed, just not for the people who built the city's promise. If you're considering life in Dubai, run the numbers and listen closely to those who've already left. If you're already here and feeling the pressure, you're far from alone. Share your story in the comments and subscribe for more grounded insights from the Gulf's shifting future.